It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 13th day of March 2020. And this is a breaking news special edition of Travel and Cruise Industry News for this date. And it doesn't even say the right date on here, so let me fix that real quick. Doing this on the fly, folks. Anyway, we got a breaking news item here, one that I have been expecting for some time, but it actually came from a different source than I was expecting. The Canadian government, just moments ago, a few minutes ago, has banned cruise ships until July. The Canadian government has temporarily barred all cruise ships and ferries that carry more than 500 people, including crew, from docking in Canada until July, of course, to protect against the growing fears of COVID-19. In a public address this morning, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said that cruise season is suspended until July. Transport Minister Marc Garneau says the government will re-examine the ban after June 30th. The reason, of course, that this is poignant to me is my next cruise is scheduled May the 11th out of Vancouver. That's in Canada, and that's now a no-no. So I have been canceled out of my cruise. Yesterday, I said that at best, I thought the cruise was 50-50, and now it is 0. So I have not been notified officially by either the Norwegian Cruise Line or Vacations to Go. I'm sure that's forthcoming as soon as they process this. I probably know this maybe before they do. But anyway, that's what's happening this morning. The Canadian government has banned cruise ships until July, which puts, I would think, the entire Alaska sailing season in jeopardy, especially since Seattle is having the issues that they've been having these past few days. Currently, the Canadian government is still allowing smaller cruise ships and ferries to dock in Canadian waters and is enacting specific precautions to monitor passengers that disembark. The Greater Victoria Harbour Authority says that it respects the government's decision to prioritize public safety and says that Victorians continue to support the local business community. This, of course, is going to affect Victoria. It's going to affect Vancouver. It also would affect the eastern ports like Halifax and St. John, New Brunswick, the eastern ports as well. So anyway, that's where we stand. So it looks like I will not be going on my cruise as planned, unfortunately. And I know a lot of you that are scheduled to go to Alaska now, this is going to affect a lot of people. So this was a massive blow once again to any of us that like to cruise. This one's going to hurt more so than a lot of the others that could have happened. So I got a couple more things to mention here this morning. We'll be back after this word from a sponsor. Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise. Okay, back with you. In another story related, of course, Due to the state of emergency in Maryland, the cruise terminal at the Port of Baltimore is closed until further notice. A state of emergency was declared by Maryland Governor Larry Hogan actually yesterday, which resulted in the activation of several measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, along with the protection of citizens. This included the closure of Cruise Maryland Terminal at the Port of Baltimore on the east coast of the United States. And of course, that affects Grandeur of the Seas and Carnival Pride, which sail out of Baltimore. So Baltimore is shut down completely. And there have been a number of other cruise lines to cancel or suspend their cruises until later. Avalon, Am Waterways, Celestial, Disney, of course, is the biggest after Princess Saga. Uniworld, Viking, Virgin Cruise Lines has put off their launch of their new line. Windstar this morning. Costa cancel or did the same. There are various different dates that are in play, but I think probably in the next day or two, you may hear from a lot of other lines as well. There's been a major call for Royal Caribbean to do something, to make a statement, because there's so many people that are scheduled on Royal Caribbean ships within the next 30 days, and people need to know. Folks, I had come to the conclusion yesterday that my chances on my next cruise were thin. So I'm not really surprised by what happened this morning. But I'm thinking, folks, it looks like more and more with all the cancellations going on in this world right now, and at least our world here in the United States, that the cruises probably for the next at least month or 6 weeks are probably done. Although that has not been announced yet. I don't mean to be trying to do fear tactics or anything else, but that's looking mighty shaky. So the Alaska sailing season, clearly from the Vancouver side of things, that would be Vancouver and Victoria. Vancouver is a departure point. The other departure point is Seattle. Of course, there's a cruise or two from San Francisco, and there's one from LA that go to Alaska, but mostly from Seattle and Vancouver. Seattle has already canceled 2 early cruises out of Seattle, and I think you're probably going to see more as they're staying on top of that situation out there in the state of Washington. And of course, Canada this morning, barring all cruise ships until July. So that's it for now. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. That's the way of the world for now. So our cruising time is a little shaky now for the next little bit. So I will keep you posted as more information becomes available. This is Chillie with Chillie's Cruises. Later, y'all.
Thank you for watching today's travel and cruise industry news. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.